Welcome back. Now, there's a lot that you've been hearing about the budget. We, of course, had channels and news organizations breaking it down all for you over the last 24 hours about which segment gets what, which segment gets nothing. There's, of course, politics around it happening in the parliament as well. But over the last 1 week, there's also a lot which has been discussed when it comes to the railways. There have been some very serious accidents that have happened in India over the last 1 year itself, if you look at it, some of them extremely major. And yet, what's been the allocation, not only for the railways, but particularly for the safety measures? Yes, there was a mention of it in the budget, but how much of it really has come through and how much of that is going to be used for Kavach? Is that enough? We're going to look into all of this. In a move to enhance train safety, Indian Railways has allocated a substantial portion of its budget to the implementation of the Kavach automatic train protection system. Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav announced a record sum of 1.08 lakh crore rupees out of the total railway budget of 2.62 lakh crore rupees dedicated to safety measures. That's an interesting usage of words. These initiatives include replacement of aging tracks, improvements to the signalling system, and the construction of flyovers and underpasses. A significant part of this safety budget will be utilized for the installation of the Kavach system, is what the minister has also said. Kavach is an indigenously developed automatic train protection system designed to assist locomotive pilots in avoiding overspeeding while also providing support for train operations during adverse weather conditions and involves communications and signaling. Kavach works on the principle of continuous update of movement to the authorities. It uses a network of devices mounted on two trains moving towards each other to avoid a collision. These devices work with the help of radio technology as well as GPS. However, the Economic Survey 2023-24 released on July 22nd indicates limited progress on safety-related works such as the deployment of Kavach automatic train protection system and the overhaul of signalling systems at all stations. The survey states that Kavach has been deployed on 1,465 route kilometers in the South Central Railway, representing just 2.14% of the total railway network. So far, out of 17 operational railway zones in India, 8 zones have eliminated mechanical signalling. According to the survey, this initiative is crucial for Indian Railways, especially in the light of several recent accidents. On July 18th, 4 people died after 10 coaches of the Chandigarh-Dibrugarh Express overturned in Uttar Pradesh's Gonda district following a derailment. Just a month prior to that, on June 17th, at least 10 people were killed and 40 injured when the Sialdah-bound Kanchenjunga Express from Agartala was hit by a goods train in West Bengal's Darjeeling district. In June last year, 3 trains, Shalimar-Chennai Central Coromandel Express, Bengaluru-Havra Superfast Express and a goods train were involved in a pile-up, marking one of India's worst train accidents with 293 fatalities. On October 29, 2023, 14 people died and 40 were injured in a rail accident in Andhra Pradesh after a passenger train overshot a signalling and collided with another on the Havra-Chennai line. The Railways Minister initially claimed the loco pilots were distracted by a cricket match, but this reference was later removed from the report. Investigations revealed that this accident could have been prevented. And I'm being joined at this point by Sudhanshu Mani. If you have been following our shows, you know Sudhanshu Mani has been with us quite often on issues such as this. He's a retired general manager for the Indian Railways and a creator of Vande Bharat. Thank you very much, Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, for joining us. My first straight-up question to you, with what's been allocated for the Kavach system, the mentions that were given, how do you really look at it? I'm asking you this question because you've always maintained money is never an issue when it comes to the Kavach system. It is an altogether different challenge. But how do you look at, first, let's look at the budget and the allocation.
Yeah, so I will again repeat that money is not a problem. 2.62 lakh crores is a large sum. So this low level of allotment for Kavach, to me, it shows that railways are still not geared up. They have not built up the capacity to roll out Kavach at the desired speed. If I'm not wrong, the allotment is less than 1,000 crores, which means even if we assume that certain work has already been done in Delhi, Mumbai, and Delhi Howrah sectors, this spend will not result in more than 1,000 or 1,500 kilometers, if at all, in this year. So I would say that there is a gap between the requirement and the capacity of railways to install Kavach at the speed that is required to cover at least the major busy sections of Indian railways. Uh, so, to put it in perspective, railways have about 69,000 route kilometers, and as
Hmm.
a back of the envelope number, 60 to 70 lakhs per kilometer, depends whether it's a double line section or single line section and so on. Uh, to cover entire Indian
Hmm.
railways at today's price should be about 50,000 crores. If we say that we will limit it to only busy routes, let's say
Wow.
30,000 crores.
Hmm.
And even if you do, these 30,000 crores means about 40,000 kilometers, let's say. Even if you do at the rate of 4,000 kilometers
Hmm.
per year, it's going to take 10 years. So,
Hmm.
10 years, 30,000 crore, 3,000 crores per year is nothing. Is related to the amount that railways have in their kitty from the general budgetary support. So, since it is even less than that, it seems that railways are still not geared to roll out Kavach in large numbers across the country. It's going to be more of the same slow speed of progress.
Mr. Mani, how do you look at the progress at this point? I mean, we've focused a lot on train accidents, and I've even explained at least few that have happened over the last 1 year. I'm not going to repeat all of that again. Neither am I going to ask you to repeat all of them. What I'm going to ask you is the budget. The railway minister has said that the Kavach system has been implemented in 2.14% of the railway tracks, railway spreads for that matter. Now, how do you look at this? Since the time it was rolled out from its first implementation till today, 2.1%, 2.14%. What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
This seems beyond sham, but tell me if I'm correct while saying that.
Yeah. So you see, the technical competence of the product and reliability and confidence in the product is something I'll not talk about, since the railway minister and the railway ministry themselves have decided that this is the path we'll follow 3 years back. I'm assuming they have good confidence
Okay.
in the product.
Hmm.
So if they have good confidence in the product,
Hmm.
limiting yourself to same 1,400 kilometers for 3 years is inexcusable. It seems there's no vision as to how to roll out Kavach in large numbers. I remember statement of the top man of railways, not the minister, the CEO, that industry is not geared up, and that's why rollout is getting delayed. Gearing up the industry is railways' job. If you give them enough assurance of orders, if you give them confidence that we are in it together, industry would definitely come up. So I would say the progress is poor, nothing short, nothing less than that, perhaps worse.
Okay. Would you just spend a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes explaining to our viewers very briefly, those who may, there are viewers, there are many who have heard this covered system over the last few years repeatedly, but may not understand. And it's a
Yeah,
very simplistic understanding of covered system. Many think it's an anti-collision system, but it's
yeah,
beyond that.
yeah. Yes, you're very right. Those from the opposition say that this has been started 20 years back, anti-collision system, which is just half truth. An anti-collision system was developed and it deployed in North Frontier Railway. It was purely an anti-collision system based on devices placed in locomotives and ground, only to prevent collision. It had some successes, some failures. When it was decided to expand the scope of the system, RDSO, that's the R&D wing of railways, decided that they would go for a comprehensive signaling system, and anti-collision would be a part of it. So that this is a different ball game altogether. It not only enhances safety, but because of being signaling system, where, as you just mentioned, this in adverse weather or otherwise, the signaling that the driver follows is available in the cab itself. He doesn't have to depend on the signal and vision through his naked eye vision of the signals. So it's a comprehensive signaling system. It not only adds to safety but also adds to capacity to run more trains, because signals are now available in the cab itself. So more trains can also be run. There are multiple advantages. So, in brief for your viewers, Kavach is an they can understand by uh, picturing that the signals that you see all along the track would be in a way redundant. It'll all be available in the cab itself. So it's a comprehensive signaling system, and anti-collision is also one of the component of the system.
Okay, also would you put it in perspective for us? The minister has said there have also been hirings that have been done, jobs have also been given in the railways. But how does one really look at this? Because, every time accidents come out, there are facts that are coming out that the locomotive pilot has been overworked, that there's been a system that has failed, the signaling system failed, the instruction that was passed on or handed on was not correct. There are so many such facts that come out. There are also reports of how there are posts that are still vacant within the railways. And the minister is saying hirings have been done. So how do you look at this?
Okay, so in respect of manpower and vacancies, I'll not get into this discourse of what happened during UPA time and what's happening now. Overall strength of railways is going down, and I think it is correct because railways, like so many other government departments, has been overstaffed. So I look at it that way. But coming to certain categories, now
Okay.
let me see super safety categories. There are many safety categories, but there are categories like loco driver, pilot, assistant loco pilot, station master, pointsman, signal maintainer also, train manager, the guard who's all called train. These are posts in which the employee does not get even a minute free. He has to be intensely on duty all the time. And it's not as if the job, like I was a general manager, I could enjoy my afternoon off. Such luxury is not available to these posts. They are the key safety posts. So if you have vacancies in these categories, then it is going to result in overwork of those who are already available. So I'll not talk about railways in general, but you should not have vacancies in these categories, which we found they had a large number. And after the accident, they suddenly increased the vacancies, which showed that there is lack of seriousness in filling up these safety categories.
And last question, sir. The minister has said accidents have decreased over the last 5 years. When we look at instances, and we're looking, of course, we're not looking at all the instances. We have not covered all the accidents, all the mishaps, all the derailments, the fire. We've not covered all of that. We have looked at some big accidents that have happened. But how do you look at this light? I mean, it's unfair to even say something like that because every life is precious. Every life lost is a loved one lost for a family, and that is irreplaceable. But how do you look at this fact? Is it true?
Yeah. No, dispassionately, if we look at it, the statement is not incorrect. Number of fatalities and number of accidents has gone down. But as you said, this is not the time to look at that data. Now, technology is available. Kavach was not available long back. Certain technologies are available, like artificial intelligence, which can be used, as I've said on your show earlier, to generate alerts and build in a safety culture. These technologies have come in last 5-10 years. So this is time to go for zero accident. If we move towards zero accident, we may have some, but therefore, data is not important. What is important is the capabilities available today can actually take railways towards zero fatality, zero accident scenario. And that's what we should be working on.
Right. Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, thank you very much for joining us, for putting in things in perspective, and of course, adding much to it as usually as you do. Thank you very much, Mr. Mani, for joining us. It's very important for us as viewers, as voters, as India to remember that a covered system that the government mooted as something that could save lives, prevent accidents, is practically being implemented over the last 3 years in just 2.14% of the rail networks in India. It just shows the political will, the lack of it quite clearly, to implement it across India.